Hello and welcome to the Zentangle Project Pack series. This is Julie Willand and this is the 6th video of Project Pack number 5. We're calling this Project Pack series Zentangle Cartouches. Any of these tutorials can easily be watched out of order, but we do suggest watching the introduction video first, as this explains the inspiration behind Zentangle cartouches, the materials in your project pack, and how to prepare and mount your photos or keepsakes. Today, I'm going to be showing you what I'm calling Giant Diva Dancing Reticula. In addition to the materials in your project pack, I grabbed a black Micron 01 that I might be using later on. So when thinking about what I wanted to do for this project pack, I was thinking about how I really like to use tangles as reticula. There are a lot of tangles that lend themselves really nicely to this, such as Huggins or Tripoli or Kadit, and where it creates a big enough space for you to fill it with another tangle. But I started to think about what kind of tangles were not so obviously a reticula, and I came up with Diva Dance. So we're going to have a lot of fun today exploring this. The photo I have here is my dog Albus. He's a Black Lab Mastiff mix that we rescued about a year and a half ago. I chose this photo, A, because he's very cute, and B, because I take a ton of photos on my phone of him and I never do anything with them. So today, we're going to tangle around him. So I'm going to start with my colored Micron. For me, I have the Royal Blue 05, but any color you have will do. And we're going to begin our Diva Dancing Reticula. So first I'm going to aura the photo pretty closely along the edge. And I use the scissors that came in the pack to cut out this photo. So I've got that deckled edge, which creates for a little more character, I think. Remembering to turn your photo just as you would a tile. As you're auraing this edge, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to get in every little crevice or indent. But we just don't want a straight line. I find when working on a surface larger than a tile, I need to turn it more often. Now that I have my aura, I'm going to go to my next step of Diva Dance, which in traditional Diva Dance is a little ladybug shape along your line. But because we're going to be using this shape as a reticula, I'm going to make very large mounds, if you will, along my aura. So I'm going to start up here. And as you can see, they are quite large. And I'm going to do this all around the photo. Usually in Diva Dance, you fill these with ink, but we are not going to do that today. We're going to leave them open, which invites a place to add another tangle later on. Once you have gone around your photo, you're going to go back and you're going to aura these lines again. Once you have added an aura, you're going to go back and you're going to add another mound. all around your shape. They don't all have to be the same size. I do like when I get to a corner to kind of create a corner there, because as we keep adding our mounds and we keep adding an aura, I tried to make the shape more rectangle so it acts as a frame. And now I'm going to aura again. And I'm going to do another layer. Again, kind of using my shapes to become more rectangle. And I'm going to add my aura now. So I'm going to stop right there with my Diva Dancing Reticula. And as you can see, it doesn't really resemble the Tangle Diva Dance that much. However, it's drawn in the same way. You could keep drawing them to fill up the entire space, but like I said, I just am creating this frame around my photo of Albus. So next I'm going to choose my brown Micron pen, and I'm going to begin filling all of my reticulous spaces, and I'm going to be filling my spaces with the Tangle Flux. And so you can pick anyone to start, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to create these leaf-like shapes, teardrop shapes rather. Yes, teardrop's a better word. And I'm going to fill the space with them. So there are lots of different variations and ways to draw flux, but today I'm going to kind of work in the pattern of starting at the top of this teardrop shape and going in the opposite direction, and then starting at the top of this teardrop shape and working in the opposite direction, and so on. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to add a line here, working from that corner to about 2/3 of the way up my teardrop shape. And then in these little triangle spaces that my teardrops made, I'm going to add an aura. Just like that. And then I'm going to move on to my next space. Again, teardrop, and then starting at the top of this teardrop, I'm going to work in the other direction. And you can see, because all of my reticulous spaces are all different shapes and sizes. Sometimes it doesn't quite fill the space perfectly. So at that point, I'm going to go back and add some teardrop spaces where it looks like I can fill some in. And then I'm going to add this little line, again, starting at the base and working about 2/3 of the way up. And once I've done that, I'm going to go back and I'm going to aura all of the different spaces that my flux have created. And then I move on to my next space. All of my flux are going to be different sizes, and I'm kind of letting the size of my reticula dictate how big I'm drawing those. The smaller the space, the smaller my teardrop shape. But if I have a bigger space to work in, I might draw them a little larger so you can see the difference between these flux right here and these ones up here. Remembering to turn your tile. So even though I'm drawing my flux in these alternating directions within my reticula, they're all still kind of growing upwards. And normally in our Zentangle art, there is no up or down, but because there's is a photo and there is an up or down to my dog's face, I am kind of going along with that. Again, this is Albus, as in Albus Dumbledore from the Harry Potter series. And aura. And there is our giant Diva Dancing Reticula filled with flux. I'm going to put the cap on my Micron. And now we're going to shade. So I'm going to be using both the General's White Charcoal Pencil and our Zentangle Graphite Pencil. And then I have my tortillons for both of those. So I'm going to start with the graphite. And I'm going to go around to each of my reticula shape, and I'm going to add a little bit of graphite around the edge of the entire shape. Remembering, if you're working on a Renaissance paper like me, that's a little softer than the white or the black paper. And so you want to keep that in mind when working with your pencil and your tortillon. Sorry, I just realized that in the beginning of this video, I didn't mention what paper I was working on, but it is the Renaissance. I do like to use a lot of graphite in my shading, but I always start with just a little bit, because you can always add graphite, but you can't take it away if you've used too much. Now I'm going to take my tortillon for my graphite pencil, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to soften all of these edges. Again, this Renaissance paper is softer, and so you just need a light touch with the tortillon. I'm going to go back, I'm going to add a little more graphite here. So now I'm going to pick up my white charcoal, and I'm going to go back and add some highlight in the middle of all my reticula. So when we're shading, we didn't bring the graphite all the way to the middle of each shape because you need that light and that dark aspects. Now we're just going to add some highlight. Again, don't go too heavy-handed because you can always go back and add more, especially if you're not too familiar with this Renaissance paper. You want to get a good feel for how much of the white charcoal that you need. And then I'm going to take my tortillon that I'm using just for my white charcoal, and I'm going to soften that. Again, a soft touch with your tortillon is all you need. And as you're going around, you'll see spaces that maybe you missed before, and you can go back and touch up. So I was just adding some graphite there, and then I'll go back with my white charcoal. And on these spaces on the corner, I'm going to go back and add a little bit more. And by using the contrast of the white charcoal and then our graphite pencil, it creates kind of this pillowing effect in my reticula. Gives them a little bit more dimension. And then when you feel like your shading is complete, you are all done with your giant Diva Dancing reticula. And this one is really fun because you can fill it with anything. So today we did flukes, I'm sorry. Flukes is a different tangle. But I did it here with a fragment from the primer. Maria uses it quite a bit in her artwork. It's my little niece Sophia. And then here for all you I Love Lucy fans, this is my grandmother with Desi Arnaz. And I filled the giant Diva Dancing reticula here with Printemps on the black tile. So by using this tangle as a reticula, you can really fill it with anything you want. And there you have it. Thank you so much for tangling along, and I can't wait to see all of your giant Diva Dancing reticula.